President Granger urges Guyanese to be economically emancipated, and Prime Minister Nagamutu joined hundreds for emancipation celebrations at the National Park yesterday. Welcome to this edition of Info Hub. We will also tell you that today the head of state received the final report from the Lindo Creek COI. Government committed to social and economic well-being, and UNFAO commit $40 million for studies to address climate change adaptation in the agri-sector. The details of these stories and more right now. President David Granger today received the final report from the Commission of Inquiry he established to search for the truth behind the 2008 Lindo Creek massacre. The details in this Alexis Rodney report.
The truth surrounding the June 2008 killings of Dax and Cedric Arokiam, Lancelot Lee, Bonnie Harry, Horace Drakes, Compton Spears, Nigel Torres, and Clifton Berrybong could have already been found had the President and other senior public officials at the time pursued it. Today, the final report of a commission of inquiry set up by President David Granger was handed over by Commission's Chairman Donald Trotman. Receiving the report, President Granger said the country will always remember the deadly decade in the early 2000s, where 1,317 persons were murdered and 7,865 armed robberies committed, a time he has described as the Troubles. President Granger said will never occur again.
My government will spare no effort to expose the intellectual authors and the perpetrators of such deadly violence. The truth of the Troubles must be determined in order to reinforce our regard for the sanctity of life.
President Granger reminded that the Constitution allows persons to have the right to life. This was, however, snatched from a group of innocent men seeking out an honest living. Commission's Chairman, retired Justice Donald Trotman, said a part of the recommendation encourages the government to reopen parts of the investigation that was undertaken before the commencement of this COI. This, he said, will allow for explanations to be given by officials about their actions or inactions at the time.
That would include persons who were performing the duties of President, Commissioner of Police, Minister of Home Affairs, and other, the GDF, and other relevant officers around the particular time.
The COI was established to investigate and make findings of fact on matters in relation to the killings of the 8 miners in the Upper Demerara, Upper Berbice region in June 2008. Reporting for InfoHub, Alexis Rodney.
In this post-emancipation Info Hub, we now report that President David Granger has made a call on Guyanese to be economically emancipated as he celebrated the 180th anniversary of the abolition of slavery with the people of the east coast of Demerara and Berbice.
Economic emancipation was the charge from President David Granger as he observed Emancipation Day in a number of villages.
The first message of emancipation, economic emancipation, is education. The second is employment, that you must seek to employ yourselves in your villages, in your communities, in your regions. And the third is that you must become entrepreneurs so that when opportunities come in the gold industry, in the petroleum industry, in the bauxite industry, in the timber industry, we have technically qualified young men and women who can go and occupy those positions. We must empower and educate our own sons and daughters to do that.
On the eve of Emancipation Day, the President was in Betterville celebrating Cultural Night with the 8th of May movement. The President began his Emancipation Day celebrations in Plaisance with his customary attendance to the church service at the Glory Life Tabernacle. He concluded his Emancipation Day celebrations at a festival held in number 53 Union Village, Quarantine, Berbice. The President reminded residents villages are the cradle of the nation and is built on the pillars of home, church, school, and the farm.
Today too, there should be no reason why any young person should be living at a street corner when we have abundant lands in the back dams. These villages produce not only farmers, but artisans, tinsmiths, joiners, carpenters, masons, plumbers. And we must continue to strengthen our villages and make them self-reliant.
The president noted Guyana's future is bright, but cautioned Guyanese will lose the advantage if they allow their villages to degenerate into dormitories. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Meanwhile, on his visit to quarantine Berbice, the president, as part of his 5Bs program, donated 25 bicycles to assist with transportation to and from schools.
President Granger said the donation is part of ensuring every child goes to school and receives an education.
No child must be so hungry that he or she cannot get to school. No child must be so poor that he or she cannot afford transportation to go to school.
Many children countrywide are now accessing education with free transportation provided by 27 buses and hundreds of bicycles through the President's 5B initiative. Boats were also provided to riverine communities in Essequibo, Berbice, Pomeroon and Demerara.
Every child, every Guyanese child must go to school. No more dropouts, no more skulking.
The president called on all residents to personally ensure every child is in school as part of efforts to eliminate illiteracy, truancy and delinquency. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Still recapping the emancipation celebrations, Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu joined hundreds of Guyanese at the National Park, where he urged Guyanese of African descent to not forget their past, but also to look towards seizing opportunities. Here's more.
The Prime Minister said that while we reflect on the past, there's also need for introspection.
Guyana now is poised on moving forward, its economy forward. While in the past we had Africans were brought here as human cargoes, we have to look at how to convert the human cargoes into human capital to help to build the basis, the scientific, technological, educational, cultural basis on which we can move our economy forward and we can make this country a paradise.
Referencing to the production of forced oil in Guyana in 2020, the Prime Minister said there must be substance to the freedom achieved.
We have to now give content to what is it to be free. Is it free and be poor? Is it free and be miserly? Is it free and be beggarly? Or is it free and have pride, dignity, self-worth, and wealth? And so I feel that we need to move forward with optimism, with confidence.
The event saw Guyanese from across the country coming together to celebrate the end of inhumane enslavement which occurred in Guyana and the rest of the Caribbean 180 years ago. Isaiah Braffett for InfoHub.
You know anything wrong here, sell cigarettes?
I just sell. How much packs you want?
Why still got no cigarettes on display?
Like you in here about the new tobacco control law that passed?
What's that?
It's the law that states that you can't have any cigarettes on display or advertised.
Sell me 1 cig.
Well, the law states that I can't sell you 1 cigarette nor packs of 10. I could only sell you packs of 20.
No, but I really gotta stop smoking. This thing costing me.
Let's all work together to prevent cigarette smoking-related illnesses. Thanks for staying with us. Guyanese have been assured of the coalition government's unwavering commitment to their social and economic well-being. This assurance was given by Minister of State Joseph Harmon, who ushered in emancipation celebrations on Tuesday. Stacey Carmichael tells us more.
Minister Harmon at Buxton's Emancipation Cultural Extravaganza Tuesday evening said this administration will restore hope in villages and other communities.
We have now a new hope. We have a new flicker. We have a light that is going to shine bright on this village of Buxton. We are now on the cusp of the discovery of oil. And we want you to understand that the revenue from this oil is going to be used to ensure that the village economies are taken care of. We are going to ensure that the infrastructure of the villages are taken care of.
The dismantling of the cooperative movement the minister described as another ill-fated act under the previous government.
By 1989, we had 1,444 cooperative societies in this country. By 2016, the PBP had actually shut down or made some of them dysfunctional. At least 130 of those societies were shut down. Since 2016, we have established in the government a unit an interim management committee for the co-op societies that has actually seen over the last year over 140 cooperative societies either re-established or new ones formed.
At present, there are approximately 1,436 co-op societies in operation countrywide. Turning his attention to emancipation and its symbolism, Minister Harmon called on those gathered to free themselves of the mental shackles, similar to how their ancestors were freed legally and physically from slavery. The event featured several cultural presentations, including the singing of folk songs, dancing, drumming, poetry, and more. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
The United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization, UNFAO, committed $40 million for Guyana to undertake baseline studies for developing a full proposal to address climate change adaptation and resilience building in the agriculture sector. A workshop was today hosted in this regard. Let's join Stacey again.
Head Office of Climate Change OCC Janelle Christian said the government is looking to advance actions that were committed under the National Determined Contributions NDC to the Paris Agreement. Under the NDC, agriculture was identified as the main medium by which adaptation to climate change challenges will be addressed.
The other focus within our NDC is on mitigation for forests and energy. However, this workshop today, continuing tomorrow, will be looking at addressing those particular challenges within the agriculture sector.
The government, Christian noted, has done groundwork following collaboration with the Ministry of Agriculture, related agency and other subsectors to address challenges in the agriculture sector.
One case in point is as it relates to water resources challenges in Region 9. Not only the Ministry of Agriculture, NDIA, but also the Ministry of Natural Resources have been working to address those particular challenges.
The Green Climate Fund, GCF, recently approved some $140 million for Guyana's second readiness support for the agriculture sector. The University of Guyana Faculty of Earth and Environmental Sciences and the International Center for Tropical Agriculture are tasked with completing the baseline studies. A concept note for the full proposal to address climate change adaptation and resilience building within the agriculture sector is the expected outcome. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
A Wismar youth has landed a scholarship to the University of Guyana for studies in early childhood development. Find out more in this report.
Donna Rigby was grateful for the opportunity for herself and others to be employed and will make the best use of the scholarship granted to study early childhood development. She's a member of the For the Children's Sake organization in Wismar Linden.
I am so thankful for the opportunity, and I am determined that I will go and make this government proud.
Former presidential advisor on youth empowerment, Aubrey Norton, said the opportunity granted to Rigby was not singular. He explained that it is recognized that there are many young persons with potential but no training to make meaningful contributions to the growth and development of their communities.
The decision was taken to train them and to have them involved. So across the country, in all 6, you have like 9 persons trained for each. The hope is also that those young people will go back to school. From the bunch, we have taken 12 of them who are enrolled in the University of Guyana. We have organized scholarship for them, and it is hoped that every year 2 will go so that they can improve their qualification and become professional teachers.
The almost $40 million 1 Mile Wismar Early Childhood Development Center was commissioned Sunday last by the Minister of Finance, Winston Jordan. The facility is the 6th of its kind across the country and 6th to provide early childhood development and daycare services to parents at a minimal charge. According to the government, this will enable parents to seek employment away from home, thereby increasing their household income and improving quality of life. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
That's our final report for today. Remember, for continuous updates, follow us on social media and our website at dpi.gov.gy. We leave you with your bridge and weather reports. Goodbye.